Hello, welcome back to Kim Reads as we continue with A Free Woman on God's Earth. Theodore Sedgwick consulted Tapping Reeve, an older and more experienced lawyer from Litchfield, Connecticut. The two would work together to prepare for the trial. The case was called Brom and Bet versus Ashley. There was a buzz of excitement in Sheffield and Great Barrington as the lawsuit was prepared over the summer. Was this a way to see if all slaves could be made free? How could it be legal to have slaves when the country was fighting a war for freedom, independence, and equality? Colonel Ashley was also hired the best legal counsel he could find. Jonathan Canfield from Connecticut and David Noville from Williamstown agreed to represent Colonel Ashley in court. Mrs. Ashley repeatedly demanded they do something about her runaway slaves. On August 9, 1781, Theodore Sedgwick, Tapping Reeve, Mumbet, and Brom arrived at the courthouse in Great Barrington, ready to take the cause of freedom. Colonel Ashley and his lawyers arrived too, amidst much clamor. The crowd surged around them as they entered the courthouse. Everyone wanted to hear what the lawyers would argue. Colonel Ashley's lawyers went first. They argued that Brom and Bet are and were at the time of the original writ the legal Negro servants of said John Ashley during their lives. They said they could be proven and the case should be dropped. Sedgwick and Reeve came next. They argued that Brom and Bet were not legal servants of John Ashley during their lives, and there was no law in Massachusetts that clearly established slavery in the first place. They stated that even if there were laws allowing slavery, the new Massachusetts Constitution would revoke those laws. All men were free in Massachusetts. The trial only lasted 2 days. That day and the next, the jury heard more of the case, and at the end of the 2 days, both judge and jury were convinced. On August 21st, 1781, it was found that Brom and Bet are not and were not at the time of the purchase of the original writ the legal Negro servants of him and John Ashley during life. There was a stunned silence in the court. A huge collective sigh breathed through the rooms as everyone realized what just occurred. In the loud cheering that erupted, no one heard Mumbet's words, "I am free." She repeated them 3 times. Looking around, she grabbed little Bet by the hand and stood purposely out of the courtroom into the grass underneath the blazing August hot sun and repeated, "I am free." She tasted the words on her tongue and turned to her daughter and said, "We are free." She stood there dazedly. 37 years of servitude over. She was a free woman. People spilled out of the courthouse, congratulating each other, some stopping to congratulate her and Brom. Bet had no words for them, but her eyes were shining. She felt Brom standing near her. She turned to look at him, searching for his thoughts. Tears were welling in his eyes. Suddenly she was weeping. She held her hands up to her face, trying to hide her tears. Brom put his arm around her shoulder. "There. Hush now, hush." She rested her head on his chest, crying for a few moments. Drying her eyes with her handkerchief, she looked at him. "We are free, Brom," she whispered. "We are free." Brom nodded at her, his eyes full of joy. "We are, and it feels good." As the crowd milled around, Mumbet and Brom stood next to her, seeing everything with new eyes. Tapping Reeve made his way out of the courthouse. Seeing Mumbet and Brom, he walked over, smiled broadly, hand outstretched. Brom took it. "What are you going to do now, Brom?" he asked. "Will you be going back to General's?" Brom looked gratefully at the man who had helped free him. "I ain't got nowhere else to go, sir, but things will be different. I can stay there and work as long as I need to, but now I can leave if I want. It's what's best." Bet knew there were not many choices for them now, even free. "Good man. Congratulations to you both." He tipped his hat and walked away. The crowd had thinned. Bet squeezed Brom's arms as she saw Colonel Ashley make his way towards them. "Bet, you have your precious freedom," Colonel Ashley said. "Would you consider staying with us?" "We would pay you a wage, of course." "Mr. Ashley," she replied, no longer referring to him as master. I've been offered a position with the Sedgwicks. I know the children now and their household ways. They need me. Little Bet and I are happy there. Colonel Ashley stood looking at Mum Bet for a few moments, and turned on his heel and walked away. Not only were Mum Bet and Brom declared free, but Colonel Ashley had been ordered to pay 30 shillings in damages, as well as court costs, which were £5, 14 shillings, and 4p law money. The new law had worked. Few realized at the moment what a profound and far-reaching effect this case would have on slaves in Massachusetts for years to come. And that's the end of that chapter. See you later.